Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm Some Dumb American, and with me, as always, is Scribe. Say hi, Scribe.
Hi, Scribe.
And the lovely Ranting Monkey is also joining us tonight. Say hello.
Hello.
How is everybody?
I am well, but there's some construction finishing up, so I keep muting myself. I am here, but I'm trying to save everybody's ears.
I am decidedly inebriated.
Okay, this is going to be good. Anything we need to talk about before we get into the news?
We need to reiterate the schedule change upcoming next week. We're starting this coming Sunday. We are going to try out a new schedule where we take Sunday off, and we have a set pair of days, each of us, over the course of the 6 days remaining. So the plan will be starting Monday. It'll be SDA on Monday and Thursdays. It'll be me on Tuesdays and Fridays, and it'll be Monkey on Wednesdays and Saturdays. That way you'll always know on any particular day who's hosting the stream. And it'll give each of us a day off once a week to relax, recuperate, work on video stuff, whatever. Unless, of course, something really major happens on a Sunday, then maybe we'll come on. But generally speaking, we're going to try to avoid burnout and give ourselves a little extra breathing space since we've been doing this literally every night for like the last 6-7 months or something. So, yeah, there's that.
Indeed.
Yep. So hopefully that's not too confusing. I don't think it is. Like Scribe said, that's starting on Monday. So we'll be on my channel. The rotation will actually sort of naturally fall into that. So the rotation is normal this week, and then it'll just fall into the new schedule is how we're doing it. So yeah. And like Monkey brought up in our personal DMs, this is really good for you guys because you guys know not to do anything on Mondays and Thursdays because that's when all the terror attacks will happen. So we're being very convenient for you. Thank you, Sanguine. How many drinks does it take to turn scribbles into dribbles after a taint?
2 Jack and Cokes because I'm a lightweight beyond compare.
All right. So, anything else before we get into the schnoz?
Not that I know.
Nope.
Okay, Scribe, what do we got?
Well, let's see how well I do at trying not to slur my words and giving CNN points in their favor, which would be kind of a bad thing. Oh, did I just close one of the stories that I wanted to read? No, I didn't. Okay. So in the realm of natural disasters, as we generally start off with these last several weeks, the California wildfires, there have been quite a few and a lot of destruction over the last couple of days, or I guess 12 hours or so. More than a dozen wildfires are scorching Northern California, aided by the state's epic drought, low humidity, and high winds. Here are some eye-popping numbers that tell the scope of the tragedy. Over 100,000 acres have been burned, much of it the lush, picturesque landscape of the state's beloved wine country. The area burned so far in Napa and Sonoma is 3 times larger than Washington, D.C. The fires torched 20,000 acres in about 12 hours on Monday alone. This means the fires advanced at a rate of more than a football field every 3 seconds. The fires were fueled by wicked hurricane-force winds. The highest reported was a 79-mile-per-hour gust in Sonoma County. Fuck me. That's similar to wind gusts recorded along the Gulf Coast as Nate made landfall. With 571 structures burned, the Tubbs fire is the 12th most destructive wildfire in California fire records. More than 200,000 people have been evacuated from their homes. 2 hospitals were also cleared out. At least 15 people are dead, including 7 in the wine country city of Santa Rosa, but that number will most likely rise. Sonoma County alone received more than 240 missing person reports. Authorities have found 57 of those people safe. Nearly 35,000 are without power throughout the state. Around 2,000 homes and businesses were destroyed, and no rain is in the forecast over the next week.
Damn.
Yeah, so Yeah, it's just natural disaster city over in California right now. So not good at all. I don't know if there's anything to add to that, but that's just the way things are right now. Let's see. In other news, celebrity news, the news for Harvey Weinstein gets worse.
Dun, dun, dun.
Because now he's been accused of at least, and I underscore the phrase, at least 3 instances of rape. And in addition, Gwyneth Paltrow and Angelina Jolie accuse Weinstein of harassment. I just want to take a moment, I mentioned this last night, that, now that everybody's accusing him of something, it's safe for everybody to come out of the woodwork. At the same time, all of these people sat on this shit for years.
Yep.
Real quick, thank you, Miss Slim One. It barely rains in Cali.
Yeah. So I mentioned this last night, and so I can understand on a cynical level not saying anything about this guy on the basis of doing so without any real evidence would, would bring bad tidings to my career or my own reputation. On the same token, if you know a guy is being sexually abusive to women on a regular basis, isn't this the whole argument of silence is complicity that we hear so often?
I guess that's just up for the individual victim. That's a decision that's kind of up to the individual victim to make. And I think your personal choice would probably depend on, I guess, how many people he's done it to, that kind of thing. I think all of that would go into play into your decision. Then, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that.
Anyway, the article reads, more women, including Gwyneth Paltrow and Angelina Jolie, have come forward to accuse Harvey Weinstein of sexual harassment and inappropriate behavior. Paltrow and Jolie made their allegations in a New York Times article published Tuesday. A representative for Paltrow confirmed the account she shared with the Times to CNN. Paltrow said she was 22 years old when Weinstein hired her to play the lead in his adaptation of Jane Austen's classic novel, Emma. The actress told the publication that before they began filming, Weinstein asked her to come to a meeting with him at his suite at a Beverly Hills hotel. The Times reports that Paltrow said the meeting, quote, ended with Mr. Weinstein placing his hands on her and suggesting they head to the bedroom for massages, unquote. Quote, I was a kid. I was signed up. I was petrified, she told the New York Times. Paltrow went on to say that she refused Weinstein's alleged advances, immediately left, and told her then-boyfriend, actor Brad Pitt, who said she confronted the producer. A source close to Pitt confirmed to CNN that Pitt confronted Weinstein in a, quote, heated conversation. Pitt, according to the source, quote, repeatedly made it clear that it could not happen again, unquote. Paltrow told the Times that Weinstein told her not to tell anyone about the incident. Quote, I thought he was going to fire me, she said. Angelina Jolie also added her voice to the allegations. Jolie told the New York Times that Weinstein made unwanted advances on her in a hotel room in the late 1990s, which she rejected. Quote, I had a bad experience with Harvey Weinstein in my youth, and as a result, chose never to work with him again and warned others when they did, unquote, Jolie told the Times via email. Quote, this behavior towards women in any field, any country is unacceptable, unquote. And yet you kept quiet about it for at least 2 decades. Okay. Jolie's representatives have not returned CNN's request for a comment. The bombshell accusations came on the same day the New Yorker published an explosive story which included women alleging rape and misconduct by Weinstein. A spokeswoman for Weinstein told CNN there would be no comment on the New York Times story. Earlier in the day, Weinstein's spokeswoman denied the rape allegations in a statement provided to CNN. And that's pretty much where the story ends.
Yeah, it seems like when like one allegation is made against somebody famous, all of them are made. That's not to say that it's all untrue.
Right.
And I can definitely see why having, a couple of people say it can make you go, okay, yeah, me too. Especially given the situation, the power dynamics of the situation. I get it. But I think inevitably you're going to end up with some probably truthful allegations because there seems to be a lot of I guess, especially with the Brad Pitt thing, you seem to be actually be able to verify that something took place at the time. So I think there's probably some truth in there, and I think that you're also going to get a bunch of false allegations too on top of it, which I think is where the real problem is, because it's really hard to weed out what's truthful and what's not.
Well, I just get, like I said before, it just boggles the mind that, this would go on for as long as it has, and everybody keep quiet, presumably. And I underscore the word presumably because I don't know what people's motivations are. I can't read minds. But my presumption is that to accuse him or bring to light things that he had done would endanger someone's career.
Well,
or
yeah,
endanger
for
their
sure.
credit. Yeah, and so, but it then brings up the question: is your career more important than, potentially protecting people from a predator?
Well, I guess it depends. I mean, I think it really depends on perspective. In this case, not only would you ruin your career, but you also make yourself look like a slut if people don't believe you, which can further damage your career. If you don't know how many other women he's done this to, you don't know if you have a ton of support. I get it.
Well, in any case,
Did you see Hillary Clinton and Obama finally spoke up about this?
I heard they released statements. I don't know what the specifics are.
Yeah, I have Clinton's statement right here in front of me.
Okay, go ahead.
I was shocked and appalled by the revelations about Harvey Weinstein. The behavior described by women coming forward cannot be tolerated. Their courage and their support of others is critical in helping to stop this kind of behavior.
Tell us about your husband, Hillary.
Thank you. When I read this, I'm like, you can't be serious here.
Yeah, tell us about Paula Jones, Jennifer Flowers, etc., Hillary.
Yeah. Because remember, right now, these are just
forward, don't you?
These are just allegations. I mean, They actually settled the Paula Jones thing because, come on now.
Yeah.
He took out his dick.
What did Hillary do historically to those that accused her husband of wrongdoing again? Remind me of that.
What was it? She attacked them.
That's right.
She set her pit bulls on them.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear Obama's statement?
Sure.
Michelle and I have been disgusted by the recent reports about Harvey Weinstein. Any man who demeans and degrades women in such a fashion needs to be condemned and held accountable, regardless of wealth or status. We should celebrate the courage of women who have come forward to tell these painful stories. And we all need to build a culture, including by empowering girls and teaching our boys decency and respect, so we can make such behavior less prevalent in the future.
Thank you, Terry Diamantis. I think the new schedule is a test to see who the most popular person on the stream is, see whose absence causes the biggest drop in viewers.
Yeah, that's entirely our intent, to stroke our own egos. I love that Obama and Michelle Obama said all that in regards to the fact that Bill Clinton was one of their spokespeople during the last two presidential fucking campaigns.
I just love how they threw in teaching our boys teach our boys not to rape.
Yeah, well, you can say that easy because you don't have any sons, right, Obama? Fuck me.
We need to teach our Democrats not to rape.
Yeah, it seems because I've seen some other stuff and I've heard some recordings and stuff and things from the Harvey Weinstein case, and it seems like there are a lot of women who do have truthful things to say about it. I just think weeding out the bullshit from what's real is going to be difficult, and who knows if this is even going to become a criminal case or not.
I would be surprised if it becomes a criminal case. I don't know how much I believe is true. I haven't heard enough of the individual stories, but there are a lot of women coming forward saying a lot of stuff about this man. And has he denied it yet?
There, aside from the denials of rape, there's been denials of rape. Obviously the reports of him settling are on the record, so to speak, to a certain extent.
Right. We have that as well. So
yeah. So
we also have him saying, like, I'm going to make myself a better person.
Right. Yeah. So he's tacitly admitted that he has fucked up in the past. He has legally admitted that he's fucked up through the settlements. The most extreme accusations of rape, they're outright denying. Depending on how long ago these things supposedly happened, statute of limitations probably gives him some cover, but then I don't know all the details of the accusations. So
yeah, I'm happy to say, the rape charge, I don't know anything about it, whether it's real or not. But there's enough smoke to this fire that he's a dirty bastard. He settled 8 of these cases.
Yeah.
Averaging one every 2 fucking years.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, I mean that's admission enough at this point that this just keeps happening to him.
And I've seen a couple of instances now where people have brought up, like there was a clip from 30 Rock, the TV show, which I've never watched actually, but they made a joke about Harvey Weinstein's predilections several years ago as part of that show.
Oh.
There's been a lot of sort of under the radar rumor mongering, or at least mentions or jokes made about his conduct in the past prior to all this. So I have a feeling that, again, it's one of those secrets kept for the sake of everyone's reputation / careers because of his power. It reminds me a lot of Jimmy Savile. For those of you that know Jimmy Savile, the story about the British TV host who for decades and decades preyed upon children, and nobody came forward under the fear of his reputation, of his connections to famous people and royalty and media, etc., that they wouldn't be believed. Even some people who came out against him were effectively just sent aside because of it. And, same thing with Bill Cosby. I mean, you get these celebrities that are just so high up on the chain of influence and beyond reproach that they can practically get away with anything. Now, again, Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, for the most part, all of them are allegations against him. There's no proof. Nothing's been convicted yet. But, the old saying doesn't suddenly ring untrue. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. If you're in a position where you have effectively been indemnified from being looked upon as anything but a saint, you can get away with some really crazy shit. And it just really, like SDA said, it's understandable to a certain degree, like self-preservation and pragmatism. Like, well, if I say something and I don't have any evidence, I'm just shooting myself in the foot. At the same time, though, if everybody stays quiet about guys like this, it goes on for decades like it has.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not trying to make excuses because I get it. I get it from all sides, but I think from the victim's point of view, there's also the element of usually there's a lot of shame and it was my fault kind of stuff involved with it. And usually if you go, to the police and file a criminal report, you're talking about months and months and possibly years of sitting there and stewing in your own guilt, having your own personal life, your own personal decisions, your sexual activity, all that kind of stuff under a microscope, which makes it so much worse.
I get that for the rape allegations, but for him just being a creepy fucktard who grabs on women and
that's true too. Well, one
part
woman
I don't
go to the police, and the police actually hooked her up. I saw this on Philip DeFranco right before we started, and hooked her up with a wire with a mic, and he actually admits to grabbing her. So that did happen. But like it's kind of hard for us to talk about this a little bit just because it's like we're sort of talking around each other because there's so many cases.
Yeah, exactly. He's a fucktard. Let me just say.
Yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I'm not even talking about Harvey Weinstein. Like I said yesterday, as this plays out, and we already saw it with Terry Crews. Terry Crews, the athlete, spokesman for Old Spice and everything. Well, he just put out a story today saying that he was accosted by quote unquote a high level Hollywood executive, whoever that is. Now, I don't know if I would be surprised if he means Harvey Weinstein, but this, like I said, when someone as high up and as powerful as Weinstein, and honestly, he was the top, he was the king, he was the guy who was making Oscar winners and making people's careers, and he could destroy your career with one bad word and blackballing you in the industry and everything. He's now been brought low, and possibly deservedly so. Again, all these are all allegations, but like you say, when there's smoke, there's fire. So when this happens, like I said yesterday, the floodgates are going to open.
Well,
everyone that should have said something about whatever 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, there's a lot less disincentive to say something now that the press is going to be on your side and listening to you, which may be a good thing, depending on what's going on. But as we've seen in the past, it can also be taken advantage of by people that are looking for either attention or a payday or whatever. So just get ready. It's the Hollywood purge is about to begin in a lot of ways, I think.
Before we move on, it was pretty common knowledge back, especially in the early Hollywood days, that the casting couch was a thing.
Yes.
Do you think that there's a perception that actually went away, or do you think it's still just a known dirty Hollywood secret?
I think it is it is the worst kept secret. I mean, I don't doubt that it still exists. I've heard too many stories from people that had nothing to gain from saying so, that there's still pressure to do something for someone to get a job, and so on and so on. And that's not me sort of like giving into some sort of like feminist conspiracy theories or something. That's just
the reason
the underbelly of any business in general.
The reason I ask is because you've said a couple of times, that you think this is the beginning of something, and I have no reason to think the casting couch ever went away. There's no reason for it to have.
Right.
I think it's a horrible fucking thing. But yeah, I think a lot of people who've made use of the casting couch should be really worried right now.
Yeah, no, like I said, this is going to embolden people who otherwise might not have said something before to see that they do have, and again, it's one of those things where it becomes a he said, she said story, and it's unfortunate, especially because the downside of it is, like with these stories, people sat on this stuff for years. And so rather than reporting it when it happened, and some people did, I'm not saying that there aren't a lot of stories where they went to HR or whatever else, but instead of reporting it immediately for the sake of their careers, for the sake of the rumor mill or whatever else, they just kept quiet. A lot of people were criticizing, and possibly with good reason, Milo Yiannopoulos for telling these stories years after the fact of like young boys being taken advantage of at these Hollywood parties that he'd go to or whatever. But it's no better for people to say, oh, well, because he's a high-placed executive, I'm just going to keep quiet so I don't ruin my career. It's a shitty place to be, To
your point there about Milo, do you remember when all this blew up with Milo? Milo was the bad guy.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
The fact that this was going on in Hollywood, nobody had a problem with that.
Well, here's the other thing that I'm curious about. And again, I'm not trying to spread rumors or something, but between Milo and any number of other stories I've heard from like Corey Feldman and so on, I mean, lots and lots of stories have been out there for years about there being an underground of very questionable, if not completely illegal, involvement with high-placed Hollywood people and young actors, whether they be male or female or otherwise. I'm curious. Again, I'm not trying to overhype anything, but I'm curious if this might not open the doors to a lot of people coming forward and saying, now's the time to really clean things, drain the swamp, so to speak. Because when somebody as high placed as Harvey Weinstein can be taken down so low, so quickly, and possibly deservedly so, there's not there's not a lot of people above him that are safe in that regard.
Well, that leads to another possibility. Does Hollywood circle the wagons to save everyone else? Because let's be honest, the Harvey Weinstein things, from what everything I've read, it was an open secret.
Right, more or less, yeah.
So he's getting burned now because it made its way into a big publication and somebody actually finally gave a shit about it.
Yeah, and like we've seen, I mean, and this won't just affect Hollywood, because anybody and everybody who has associated themselves or put their sort of virtue pedestal against some of the outspoken, high-minded, virtuous individuals in Hollywood trying to, send the opposite message to the Republican far right, etc. Like with Obama, like with Hillary, they stay silent for days until they can get their message just right to wait and see just how much this fallout's going to be. This is going to extend beyond just Hollywood scandal. And it's going to put a lot of people under the spotlight that otherwise would not have been for their hypocrisy, if not their criminality. And who knows how far it goes. I mean, Hollywood and politics are very closely tied to each other. How people stage themselves on their moral high ground sometimes comes across in the movies that they're either involved in or endorse, or the directors, the writers, and so on. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, like I say, I'm not trying to overhype things, but given who this is, given his position, given the stories we've just seen the last 48 hours alone that have come out. I mean, it's gone from him being sexually harassive to people to 3 allegations of rape. Yeah, this isn't going to stop here. This is going to keep going, and more people are going to be pulled into this. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see something really even worse coming from Hollywood in the next week or so, with just people getting brave about it.
Thank you, Zenith. Old Spice is so powerful, it makes a pit bull like me approachable for ass grabs. Terry Crews.
Nice.
Yeah, okay, I'm babbling because the alcohol's not being my friend right now, so I'll stop.
Yeah, I didn't mean to go on so long about that one.
No, it's okay. It's a big deal, and I think it's important for us to talk about it because, I mean...
Well, we also had the case with what the fuck's the guy's name from
Andy Signor.
Yeah.
That one to me is a little bit more shady because there's less solid evidence, if that makes sense.
Well, yes and no, but in that case, you had people who immediately, like literally immediately, went to HR after it happened. So I mean, I'm almost more willing to believe them because there was no wait.
That's true too. With that one, what I've seen the most of is... Go ahead, I'm sorry. With that one, what I've seen the most of, though, is just some shady screenshots. I know that some people went to HR, which, like you said, usually you can tell the validity of a claim by how quickly somebody is told, whether it be an official report or like somebody's, like your friend or something is told directly after it. So, yeah. And that, like, those seem to be a little bit less severe, though, I'll say.
Well, there was the one allegation of direct, let's call it what it was, direct attempted rape.
Okay. I'm kind of getting them mixed up because...
Well, there's a supposed case with several witnesses who have all apparently been willing to tell HR their story of him laying on a girl and trying to force a dildo up her.
Oh, right. Jesus, that's awful.
We talked about that last night. Yeah.
Okay.
So once again, guys, if that happens to you, do not go to HR. Go to the police.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I've seen going around is people talking about HR and why not to go.
HR is great if it's just sexual harassment. Somebody's being inappropriate in the workplace. That's what HR is for. If somebody is trying to sexually assault you, that's what the police are for.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the college allegations where they go to the college and they expect them to do effectively the police's job. And, it's not to say that when you do that, you're lying or something, but you definitely don't help your case when you don't put yourself on the dock to go to the police and have to testify and put your own reputation on the line. I understand that, in a case of sexual assault or rape or anything else, I mean, okay, I'm not going to say that I understand. I've never been raped. I've never been sexually assaulted. I know people who have, and some of them have reported it and some haven't. And I understand the difficulty in having to come forward on something like that. But, I just wish, whether it's Hollywood people or college people, that they would bite the bullet and understand that there is no winning in this situation for anybody, except for the fact that you may stop it from happening again by going to the authorities.
Well, as I said last night, these are obviously women who are willing to come forward with their stories because they brought it to HR.
Right.
But Weibo asked in chat, why go to HR instead of the police? And you brought up something that answers it perfectly. It's because women are being taught that you don't go to the police for these things.
Yeah.
You go tell the campus, you go tell your employer. No, there are, those things do have their jurisdictions where, you know, as I said, if it's just somebody making, say, unwanted sexual advances, they're, you know, making dick jokes to you constantly.
Absolutely.
You go tell HR.
Well, because with that, you know, while sexual harassment is legally a crime, which that would be sexual harassment, dealing with that on a criminal level would take forever. Whereas if you go to HR and you're like, this guy keeps telling me weird dick jokes, it gets taken care of like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But I think, but you know, it's not appropriate for them to handle something like somebody trying to rape you with a dildo.
Yeah, exactly.
That's criminal. That's criminal behavior. HR is not going to help you with that so much as, I mean, anyway, drawing the line between a violation of company policy and criminal act shouldn't be that difficult to tell, but anyway, this problem is going to get solved in the next, conversation. And God knows, like I say, this is just the beginning. It's not just Harvey Weinstein. The floodgates are going to open for better or for worse for some people. And this is going to be the end of 2017 is going to be a Hollywood bonfire. I predict with, I don't think, too much reservation. But anyway, to move on from that, because God knows we can talk about this during deep topic time if we want to.
This year, the Oscars are going to be Oscars so felonious.
Oh God, I can't even wait for the Oscars. Who's going to be hosting, and what kind of jokes are they going to tell? Holy shit.
They're not going to joke about this at all.
Anyway, let's move on a little bit to the Texas Tech shooting and the fallout from that so far. So we talked about this last night. This was breaking news last night, but it has, as much as it can be, resolved itself to this point. Police say student confesses to fatal shooting of Texas Tech cop. A Texas Tech student has been charged with murder of a university police officer. Lubbock police say the suspect confessed to the crime, saying, quote, he was the one that shot their friend, unquote. A university spokesman tells NPR that campus police were dispatched to the room of Hollis Daniels III, 19, to check on him after his suite mates contacted the university with concerns about his welfare. While police were en route, Daniels' mother called a university hotline and said that her son had expressed suicidal thoughts. Quote, so obviously something had happened for that outreach to occur, said Chris Cook, a spokesman for the university. When university police arrived, they discovered drugs and drug paraphernalia in Daniels' room. Officers arrested Daniels, a communications studies major, and took him to the police station for standard debriefing, according to a university statement. Oh, a communications studies major? That was his first mistake. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's like a gender studies. But what could have been a drug charge took a fatal turn in this West Texas city. According to an affidavit filed by Lubbock Police Detective Thomas Bonds, Texas Tech police officer Floyd East was completing paperwork at the computers in the university policing room. Daniels was not wearing handcuffs. Another officer left the room and suddenly heard a bang. When that officer returned to the briefing room, East was suffering a gunshot wound and a shell casing was nearby. East's body camera was missing and his pistol was holstered. The university went into lockdown for about an hour until police found Daniels near the Lubbock Municipal Coliseum. They tackled him and took him into custody. A loaded .45 caliber pistol and a police body camera were found nearby. Daniels told officers that he had shot their friend, unquote, according to the affidavit. Detectives say that in an interview, Daniels told them, quote, I messed up, unquote. He said that he had been arrested and taken to the police department where he did, quote, something illogical, unquote. Daniels has been charged with capital murder of a peace officer and is being held on a $5 million bond at the Lubbock County Jail.
You're going to die, son.
The Associated Press reports that Daniels is the son of H.A. Dan Daniels, a prominent figure and former city councilman in Seguin, Texas, 35 miles northeast of San Antonio. Hollis Daniels has been charged twice previously with possession of drugs or drug paraphernalia, according to the news service. That's basically where the story ends. So,
yeah, that dude's gonna die. He's going to the.
Yeah, killing a cop in Texas. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. 19 years old, and you just became an adult, and you're going to die as one. That's pretty much it.
Fucking dumb.
What a waste. What an absolute fucking waste. And for what?
I messed up. What the fuck is that? I messed up.
Yeah, like I was so high, I grabbed a .45 caliber gun and shot a cop in the head. I just kind of messed up. Fuck.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm surprised they took him alive, honestly, all things considered. I don't know what the circumstances were, but, if he'd already shown he's willing to kill a cop.
How the fuck did he get the cop's gun?
Well, it doesn't say he got the cop's gun because the cop's gun was holstered still. He had a gun on him. So it sounds... Now, again, I don't know all the details, but it sounds like they didn't pat him down and he had it on him at the time, which is just nuts.
Missed that part, sorry.
Yeah, I think... yeah. Anyway, moving on slightly. This is a little tangential to the Harvey Weinstein thing, but I saw this headline somewhere, and I just thought I'd read it real quick. Maybe it's funny, maybe it's not. This is from Medium.com, which I seem to recall is one of those sort of blog/journalism sites. The Rock Test. A hack for men who don't want to be accused of sexual harassment. Now, this might end up being a more deep topic thing, but I don't know, so I'll go through a little bit of it. And this is by Anne Victoria Clark, whoever that is. Are you a man confused on how to treat women you work with? Do you feel like if you can't say or do anything, you don't know what to say or do at all? Well, stress no more. This life hack will have you treating women like people in no time. Because men naturally don't treat women like people, just so you know. From Harvey Weinstein to like all of Uber, this is journalistic integrity, right, or pinnacle right here. It seems each day a wealthy and powerful man is being brought down by accusations of sexual harassment or assault. And just today, the New York Times reported that men are becoming less likely to mentor females out of fear. Okay, I can understand that actually. Quote, a big chill came across Silicon Valley in the wake of all these stories, and people are hyper aware and scared of behaving wrongly. So I think they're drawing all kinds of parameters, said a venture capitalist who spoke anonymously for the same reason. Some are avoiding solo meetings with female entrepreneurs, potential recruits, and those who ask for an informational or networking meeting. Yes, if you make men afraid of women on the basis that they will be accused of rape and or sexual harassment for saying the wrong words or making the wrong body gestures, what do you expect is going to happen? That's me talking. That's not the article talking. Anyway.
I can't imagine being a single guy right now.
Yeah, I'm a single guy right now. I was just thinking about this today. I was walking home from work, and I was just, minding my business or whatever, and I passed a woman on the sidewalk. Now, I never expect that you're going to have some kind of like deep, magical, movie-like conversation with someone that you're just passing by on the sidewalk. But I was walking up the hill. A woman passes me, and she gives me a look and a smile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, me being so high-minded about myself in the sense that I have the self-esteem of a, squashed gnat most of the time, just from the way I've grown up, I didn't really react to it. But as I was walking, I thought to myself, what if I had stopped and said something? My first reaction is, I don't want to be interpreted as a creep.
You would have got pepper sprayed.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, and now that is the notion in my head. I started thinking about, what if I actually approached a woman that I found attractive in the supermarket or on the street or just wherever, just some place that is completely separate from anything of my normal day. What is my first sort of mental barrier against doing that? That I'll be perceived as a creep and or a stalker and or someone who is dangerous. There's no reason to think that I am. I don't have any of those inclinations. I don't think I look particularly creepy or anything else. I mean, anybody can look creepy, I guess. But that is in there. That's been sort of ingrained in me. Even though I know it's bullshit, it's not worth the risk. So I've been told.
Quick.
Go ahead.
Thanks. Sanguine, sorry. Rock Test sounds like you club her and drag her back to the cave. Yeah, dating is kind of like trying to dance through a minefield. Number one, the Force.
Now, this is the Rock Test apparently refers to Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I haven't quite gotten there in the article yet, but
Sorry.
no. I mean, I went on a tangent, but I mean, just that first part of the article, I completely confess that sort of concern is in my head as a sort of passive effect of just what we've seen between Mattress Girl, my own personal experiences in college, being accused of something I didn't do, and so on. It's not, unfortunately, it's not an unreasonable concern these days. It seems.
Let me throw something out there.
Sure.
I've often mentioned that feminism has basically regressed to the point where, Camille Paglia talked about how they fought for the right to put themselves in danger, and now they're fighting so that they're protected at all times. Basically wanting to go back to how things were, but not exactly. Do you think because of the way things are now, they will go back to a time where there'll be chaperones on dates to make sure there's not inappropriate shit happening?
I think to avoid criminal liability, yes.
I mean, it's not a bad idea.
No, it's not a bad idea as a business service.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, I'm not even kidding. If somebody comes up with a safe and certified way to have a chaperone service for first dates or something else, especially given the climate of these days, and you go to like California or something where it's really high and concerned, you could make a sweet buck for a couple of years if you have something that actually operates like that. And again, capitalism being what it is, go for it. As far as a sign of the times, holy fucking shit, what are we in for?
Sad is
Yeah, exactly. Tell you what, I'm gonna save that rock. I'm gonna save that rock thing for later. We got a lot of MSS news, so I'll. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt. I just wanted to let people know that because a lot of people sent us stuff today that I wanted to try to get to.
I'd say we just go back to arranged marriages and cut through all the bullshit.
There you go.
I kind of agree.
Dowries.
Dowries.
Yeah, dowries. Yes. I'll pay for my best wife.
We need goats to exchange.
Oh, Jack Cochran has sent us a couple of Root articles. Okay, I'll set those aside. 3 Root articles. Holy cow, Jack. You were just all over the place. Where's that one that there was one that somebody sent me not too long ago that I was going to talk about. Where is it? I want to get to it because it was interesting. Okay, let me go to my... They tagged me in it, so I will go to my own.
Okay.
Sorry.
Terry Diamandis says, I just think castrate men at birth. We're heading that direction anyway. We're not getting far from it.
Yeah, it's scary. It's really scary.
Don't circumcise, just whack it all off.
Where did it go?
Oh my God.
Oh man, I was sent a story and now it's disappeared. Okay, well I will try to find it.
Skep Tock, that is the greatest tagline for the Root. The Root, where satire writes itself.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay. Ah, dang it, I don't remember where it went. Somebody sent me a story that it was the I'm pulling from memory here. There's a lawsuit in the federal district court where a man sued a theater chain, and I think it was Cinemark, if I can remember correctly. And his complaint was he's both blind and deaf. Oh. And so he sued the theater chain for not having someone on hand to give him a basically tactile interpretation of the film as he sat there and watched it. And by tactile interpretation, it is that he uses his hands on their hands as they're doing sign language to both describe the events of the film and the audience reactions as he's sitting in the theater. And the court ruled in his favor that that they're not having someone there like that is a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Now, this is the district court, so it's not the Supreme Court. It doesn't make a final ruling on it, but the district court did say that the theater chain did have the possibility of arguing that such a thing would be an undue burden upon the theater chain to accommodate. And I can't see how they couldn't win that argument, given that you're going to have someone on staff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on the chance that someone under those circumstances is going to attend your theater and need someone to do that for 2.5 hours at every showing of a film or something.
You know, I have a problem with the American with Disability Act.
Sure you do.
Of course I do. And it's because of things just like this. I believe, and I was actually watching Dater Lucum's stream earlier, and he started talking about something very similar. There needs to be a difference between a vital public service and just a public business.
Mm-hmm.
You have no vital need to see a movie. You have a vital need to get groceries, see a doctor, things like that.
Yeah.
I think it's in a business's best interest to make themselves as open as they can to the entire public, but I don't think it should be forced in instances where, like a movie theater, where these people, there's no way they can win that other than using that exclusion and hoping to hell that they get the right judge at the time.
Right. Real quick, I just want to give credit to this story. This came from a Twitter user and viewer named Blind Press, and they said, "As a blind person, this pisses me off. Scribelight, what do you think?" And like I say, I think that, and I completely agree with Monkey. There's a difference between necessary and luxury.
Yeah.
Necessary is federal buildings, grocery stores, hospitals, and so on. Luxury, yeah, going to a movie, trying to get into a strip club, whatever. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't mean to be rude. I really don't. But if you can't hear the movie and you have subtitles, that's fine. If you can't see the movie but you can hear it and you can kind of figure out what's going on, then great, right? If you have neither one of those senses, both of which are required to actually enjoy said movie, why are you at a movie theater?
How do you know that the guy doing the sign language isn't fucking with you?
That'd be hilarious.
I don't know, but at what point do we just go, dude, really? You literally can't see or hear anything.
I would love it if some guy came out of the theater and go like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that Darth Vader is Luke's brother." That'd be fucking hilarious.
We need to talk about that, by the way, too. We got to talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, we'll talk about Star Wars.
There was a trailer. The trailer.
Yes, we will talk about the trailer. I'm going to hold that for deep topic-esque time because I want to.
I don't know. At what point can we finally be like, dude, you're fucking deaf and blind. No, you can't go see a movie.
We can't.
But why not? That just.
Look, in theory, I agree with you 100%, but it's not the world we live in. We live in a world where feelings matter more than anything else. Literally, nothing is more important than feeling. And it is one of those things that bothers me so much. It's one of the reasons I hate anti-bullying campaigns. And I know you're not supposed to support bullying. I don't support bullying, but we've taken bullying to the fact that it's literally anything you say.
Yeah,
it is entirely based on feeling.
It's at what point do you stop treating people with disabilities as, because it seems like we treat any sort of physical disability as though it's a mental disability, that the person can't comprehend things because they're deaf. They have the mentality of a 5-year-old because they can't hear. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but
it seems like people think that any sort of physical disability means you're a fucking idiot.
I think this guy was a fucking idiot. Why the fuck would you see a movie? We actually call it seeing a movie when you're fucking blind and deaf.
I just think at some point people need to realize that a physical disability doesn't mean that the person's a fucking retard. and like they can maybe understand if you're like, dude, you can't see or hear anything, maybe a movie's just not your thing.
Okay, one more before, because we're already over time. I'm gonna blab so long, and it's my fault. But so this one comes from Pincalo the driver, or Eric the driver, or the driver, depending on the day. Dow Jones posts fake headlines claiming Google to buy Apple because of technical error.
What?
I don't know how you get a technical error that says Google to buy Apple. Now, there's a couple of bullet points beneath this. First one, Dow Jones denied the company was hacked. Okay. Second bullet point, quote, please disregard the headlines that ran on Dow Jones news wires between 9:34 a.m. Eastern and 9:36 a.m. Eastern. Due to a technical error, the headlines were published. All of those headlines are being removed from the wires. We apologize for the error. Dow Jones Newswire sent several fake headlines shortly after the market opened for trading Tuesday because of a, quote, technical error. The headlines included one that said Google was acquiring Apple for $9 billion, which is such a low ball. Mm-hmm. Here are some examples of the headlines. DJ update, Google, Apple join to create tech giant. Number 2, Google to buy Apple for $9 billion. Number 3, Google says yay. Number 4, Google says Steve Jobs suggested this in his will. Okay, how do you get a technical error that puts out those 4 fucking headlines? So you weren't hacked, and it wasn't a technical error, so you had an employee that went completely bug nuts one day?
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, either they had an employee who was being a shithead, or somebody wanted to sell their Apple price at an accelerated rate.
Well, here's the thing. Apple currently has a market value greater than $800 billion, and Google changed its name to Alphabet in 2015. So, no idea why. Yeah, they don't have any explanation. They're not giving any explanation for it. So,
yeah, that's not a see. I hate this. If you have a problem in your system, it's not always a technical difficulty. Yeah. Stop throwing that phrase out there.
It could be pilot error.
It's like when
pilot joke.
When I hear about hackers, elite hackers, this used to piss me off on Facebook when they send around that thing. People are hacking accounts. They'll make a new account just like yours. I'm like, that's not fucking hacking. Stop using that word that way.
Yeah. Okay, so and there's a little picture of Grand Monkey sweeping up leaves.
What?
Oh, well, Lady Monkey posted a picture of Grand Monkey running around with a broom sweeping up leaves, I think. I mean, I assume that's Grand Monkey. I don't know.
Oh, that is Grand Monkey. Yeah.
Okay.
She was sweeping leaves that day.
Okay.
She's so cute.
She's being a good little helper in sweeping up leaves. That's nice.
My cute little Aryan Grand Monkey. Blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yeah, Grand the Monkey is the Aryan princess. Yeah, boy.
Oh, man.
Okay, so being the schedule referee Nazi, no pun intended, that I am, it's YouTube time.
I have to tell you, in that picture, she's wearing what she calls her Mikey shoes. They're little Nike sandals she has.
Oh.
And one day she wouldn't put her shoes on, and I have my Nike shoes and I put them on. I said, look, they're just like yours. They're both Nike. And she heard Mikey, and that's what they've become.
I see.
So those are her awesome Mikey shoes.
Ooh. Yeah, so YouTube time, I think.
Yeah, so I'm working on a video. It's halfway made. I'm having a severe allergic reaction to something. We don't know what, which is why I've been so spotty the past week or so. And I'm really, really sorry about that. It's just they've got me on medication that is making me really stupid and more stupid than usual. And it's just been awful. So we don't really know what's going on there, but I have a video halfway made. Hopefully that'll be out in the next day or so. Hopefully we get all this sorted. But yeah, that's what's going on with me right now. Yeah.
When you use toilet seats in public, hover. Because I'm betting it's something like that. You got toilet herpes. That's a classic sign.
No, I think SDA is allergic to me. I think it's my aftershave.
I was going for the toilet-borne bastards here, but she's looking at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah, no, I think I just smell too good. I think that's part of the problem.
Whatever it is, I hope they find out and I hope they get it better. Are the antihistamines working at all for you, other than making you tired?
Not so far.
Maybe it's stress. Maybe it's stress, like school stress, and your immune system just kind of taking a dip for a little while.
Maybe not. I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens.
I hope they find out for you, because
me too. This is not fun. Thank you, Sanguine. Are you some dumber American now? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Scribe, what have you been up to?
Well, let's see. I found a video today that was short and sweet. After a couple of videos I've done where it's been like 25 to 30 minutes a piece or something, I found a nice short little video that is going to educate us all on these new words that have come out called gender identity and gender expression. And it's from a channel I've never heard of before, but they do a, quote, word of the week. And this is the first one of those that I found, and so I thought I'd take a look at that one, and I'll keep an eye on it for the future as I learn more vocabulary from this wonderful site. I've got it already chopped up. I got the script ready. I just have to record the audio and assemble it. Hopefully, if nothing else comes up, I'll have that out tomorrow. And yeah, and tomorrow is my 1-year anniversary. Being my very first full YouTube video was posted a year ago. Tomorrow, I will repost that onto Twitter for those of you that follow me on Twitter. Tomorrow is a sort of minor celebration. And I was also thinking about doing a quick sort of soapbox / thank you to everybody involved, whether it be viewers or fellow travelers, so to speak. But I'll think about that in the next day or so. And that's all I got.
My turn?
Monkey. Yep.
I didn't do anything. I played video games last night.
What'd you play?
I played RimWorld.
Of course you did.
Built myself a nice colony, and I had so much fun with it. And then one of my favorite people died, and I was sad.
Monkey likes to rim.
I do.
He likes a rim job.
I just don't like to lick ass.
He likes a good rim job.
I do have YouTube drama I want to talk about, though.
Ooh, what's that?
Do tell.
Have you guys seen what's going on with Mouthy Buddha?
Who?
No.
Who is that?
Mouthy Buddha. He's a newer YouTuber. Got a big jump from his undersubbed of the week on the Saints, and he's tiptoeing a little close to the alt-right line, which is weird because he also argues against them. But he's doing a video series right now called "The Jewish Question."
Oh, Jesus.
Now, I got to be honest with you.
That's not stoking controversy in any way, shape, or form.
The first video was not bad at all. It was actually a really good video. And what he's doing is going through the two sides, what, anti-Semites say, and what, people who aren't complete shitheads say.
Okay.
And then he did video 2.
Oh, boy.
In the first video, he presented, I believe it was 4 arguments. He presented the alt-right case, then a rebuttal, and then the counterpoints, then the alt-right case again, and then counterpoints.
Okay.
And then this one started in video 2. It starts with a bit of the alt-right's position, some counterpoints to that, and then a counterpoint to the counterpoint. The problem is, this is a full half of the video of him basically, he actually even says in there, and again, he's making the arguments that other people are making. But by the time you get to this part, you forget that that's what he said. But he says Hitler wasn't really that bad of a guy. This was just war. There was nothing really bad going on. He was just trying to do the best for his people.
Uh-huh.
And it's just a full half of the video of that. And again, I think people are taking it completely out of context, because he did say this is their side, not what he is saying.
Okay, so he blurred the line between sort of acting as devil's advocate and providing his own commentary as his mistake.
I wouldn't say that from how Monkey's describing it. I would say if I was like, here's what the vegans think, and then just laid out the arguments without maybe interjecting a little bit and going, and they would say this, and they would say this. This is their argument, by the way. Sounds like he just didn't signpost well.
Well, exactly. And what was the name of it? The name of the video is Part 2. Was Hitler a bad person?
Well, he's got the marketing thing down for sure.
Get some hits for that one.
He never provided a counterpoint to any of it.
Okay.
So you got this long rambling part where it is very easy to start confusing it for what he is saying.
Right.
And it kind of blew up on Twitter today. I know Tim Blake was having a baby about it.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. I mean, that's just one of those things, though, with video making and stuff like that, when you're making those kinds of videos, because I think they are important videos to make, where you're saying, here's what people are saying. It's just important that you signpost, and that you're saying,
well, that's part of the problem with it. In the rest of the series so far, he's done a very good job of doing that, partially because he doesn't go on for so long. He presents it. This is the other argument, and he lays out the argument, and he's done. Where in this one, it's here's the other argument, and then he just makes this case for how Hitler wasn't really a bad guy. The Holocaust wasn't really that bad.
Yeah, you definitely, you certainly need to signpost if you're going to go down that route. Like, you have to make, especially like you said, especially if you're going to go on for so long, you have to make it absolutely clear what you're saying and what you're talking about. Otherwise, it's going to get muddy, like you said. I completely agree.
And again, this is something to remember with Mouthy Buddha. He made a video not too long ago where he decided he was going to come back against feminists and stuff, because at that time he had started making videos against the alt-right. He's not alt-right, but he did not do himself any favors with the way he presented this video. So if you guys have seen it and you think, oh, he was being anti-Semitic, I urge you to go back and actually watch what happened there. He did a very bad job of pointing out that he was still talking in someone else's voice. So there's that going on. I know there's still stuff going on between iDubbbz and Asian Jake Paul. What the fuck is his name? Rice Gum?
Rice Gum,
yeah. But I haven't been paying much attention to that.
Asian Jake Paul.
Well, that's what he called him in the video.
Yeah,
which is funny as fuck. But that's all I had for YouTube drama stuff.
All right.
Wait a second. Backscan said he didn't say anything about Hitler making the Jews take showers, did he? Actually, he brought up that people claim there were no gas chambers.
Right.
But the thing about that statement, though, is that it was completely factually accurate. People don't like Hitler because he made the Jews take showers and killed them, and that was an incredibly rude thing of him to do, which is why people don't like Nazis, and justifiably so. That was my point. Okay, like, come on.
Let me give you one example. He brings up something that in 1933 that the Jews did, or that Hitler did to help the Jews get back to Palestine, which isn't a real fucking place, Mouthy Buddha. But back to the Palestinian lands. But he never. The perfect counter to that is, he also made agreements with Poland. We know how that turned out. So it was really bad that he never offered a counterpoint to that part. But deep topic time, I guess.
Before we do that, Star Wars.
Oh yes, let's talk about
that. What do you guys think?
Okay, so I'm gonna rant for a second. So
I liked it. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
First and foremost, CGI Chewie made me very unhappy. For a rebooted franchise that was touting its reliance mostly on practical effects versus anything else, to take the one character from the original trilogy that used very little, if any, special effects to come across as a living creature, to make Chewbacca. Now, putting aside what Lucas did in the prequels, but to make Chewbacca in the scene that they have in the trailer, CGI face, pissed me off. That little rat creature they have riding in the Millennium Falcon with him is so cutesy, pandering, merchandising BS. I was like, oh, why should I care about this thing? And then, now, I don't think the trailer is telling us what the trailer is trying to frame with some of the editing. Like at the very end, and this is all spoiler alert if you haven't seen the trailer. At the very end, you see the scene of Rey, the protagonist from the first movie, saying something to the effect of, "I need someone to show me where my place is in all of this." Mm-hmm. And then they cut to Kylo Ren reaching out his hand. Now, if you look between the shot of Rey and the shot of Kylo Ren, they are not shots from the same scene. This is some deceptive editing on the part of the people making the trailer. And all kudos to them if they're trying to obscure the plot of the movie or the chain of events. I'm fine with that. Okay, everybody going nuts about, oh my God, she's going to go to the dark side. Maybe she is. I don't know. But the way they do it in the trailer is completely manipulative, and just be wary of that. Otherwise, I don't know that looks like Star Wars to me. I don't know. It just didn't strike me. As I watched it, I was like, I'm not instilled with any kind of buckle to my swash or adventure or awe. It just seemed like depressing confusion.
I'm excited. I think it looks good. I think it looks like we're going to get some interesting stuff. I hope that they do some interesting things with the arcs of the characters and do things that we're not expecting them to do, and maybe twist it around a little bit more like they didn't in the original series, and like they didn't really do it in the, not that you could really do much with the prequels, but I don't know. I think it's going to be good. I'm excited.
I'm going to take a different track than both of you. One, I like the trailer. I'm so glad, Scribe, that you and I were on the same point with this. When I saw Chewie, it pissed me off.
Yeah.
I was like, why? Why in the fuck would you need a CGI Chewie? There's no reason for it.
He's never been CGI, has he?
No.
Well, he was
no.
Okay. So they use CGI in some scenes in the prequels where Chewbacca or other Wookiee showed up. They use CGI to enhance whatever else. In this one, you can see obviously that Chewbacca's face, maybe the body is still practical, but the face they have overlaid and the expression that they put on his face in the trailer is total and obvious CGI. And I'm just like, watch Empire Strikes Back, watch any of the original trilogy. You do not need CGI to have Chewie be an expressive character. The whole idea about Chewie in those original movies is that he's there. He is a character. He is visceral. He's as real as the rest of the actors in that scene, because he is a practical effect, and that is what made him so much more identifiable than so many of the other characters, is because you could get away with him operating in the real space. To CGI his face in this scene and have it be of the same quality as the obviously fake little monster character you have writing the dashboard, mm-hmm. just completely pissed me off.
I think the trailer was decent enough. I think it's very much a what we've seen from the prequels. They're trying way too hard with Star Wars. Here's what made Star Wars great. It was a clear fight between good and evil. The fight throughout it is for Luke, whether he's going to the light side or the dark. And that's what it is the light side and the dark. There was no middle ground there. That's all been retconned in. And the idea that there's so much nuance in the Force that's what's ruining it. It needs to be just a Western, good guy and a bad guy. Have them fight it out.
Yep.
Good guy wins in the end.
Yep.
That's what made the original 3 movies so good. And I think they killed it with the prequels, and I think this is just an extension of that. They're trying way too hard to make these characters way too deep. We've talked about this before. If you watch just the first movie, what we now call A New Hope, there is no depth to those characters at all. There's
really,
just
no.
enough. There's not. You have Han Solo, who's kind of a jackass, who's the character who redeems himself in the movie. Luke, who's a kid who's for some reason on this journey and is really just following along.
Mm-hmm.
And Leia, who happened to get captured and she's saved. That's it. There's no depth to him. There's no depth to Darth Vader at all. In the original movie, he's a lackey. He's not the big bad. So they're trying way too hard to make it a soap opera, and that's not what it should be. It's just not. It's good versus evil. Let them fight it out, and let's do it that way, because that's a much better story.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm worried about, I guess. I mean, you're right. The whole nuance of the Force thing. There's been a lot of I'll say rumor mill on the subtext of the Rogue One and especially the Rebels TV series, where they're playing up the ambiguity of the Force and trying to move the idea of it to a more gray notion. Like, I mean, the idea of the gray Jedi or the gray Force user has been sort of an expanded universe concept for many, 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 many years. Someone who isn't completely light, isn't completely dark, sort of rides the line. And they've said quite explicitly, some of the creators of Rebels and some of the people involved in the sequels, that they're trying to redefine the mythos of the Force for the quote-unquote new generation, which I think is a complete mistake, which I think completely detracts from the whole idea of, like you say, when it comes down to it, Star Wars was a very simple story. Every movie was about good versus evil. There wasn't a lot of in-between, and the only in-between was the struggle of relationship between Luke and his father, the love of his father and the wanting to save his friends and being torn between these two things. But that's just hero's journey stuff. There was never a question about who was the bad guy and who was the good guy.
Right.
Him being sort of torn on an emotional level was the drama conflict part, but Darth Vader and the Emperor were still the bad guys, and Luke and Leia, and Han and Leia and Chewie, they were still the good guys no matter what. Luke might have been angsty, but there wasn't any. Even he knew in his struggle that he was riding the line between one extreme versus the other. Yeah, so making Rey is some sort of like, well, you see her in Force Awakens. She's the good guy because she's wearing light clothing most of the time, but she's also like getting all angry and stuff at Kylo Ren when she's fighting him at the end. Oh, okay. Well, are we going to show that test of emotions is going to play itself out in this next one as, okay, we still know what good and bad is? Or are they really going to try to mix it up where it's like Kylo Ren becomes the hero and Rey becomes the villain or something? Like, God, I don't know. The other thing too, sorry, just real quick. The other thing too that kind of gives me very less confidence in the whole franchise at this stage of the game is not so much on a story level as it is on an administrative level, with the Han Solo movie changing directors literally midstream, and B, the episode 9 situation dumping its director before they really get started to re-bring in J.J. Abrams. As though that's going to help something, because Force Awakens was such a knockout of the park. But anyway.
I fucking hate J.J. Abrams.
Overhyped.
Really?
Overhyped.
Yes. He destroyed Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
Super 8 sucked, by the way. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's so Spielberg. Like, no, Super 8 sucked. I watched it a couple of years ago. I was like, this is so bad. Why were people so holding this up like some kind of Spielberg homage or inheritor or something? This sucks.
So I take it you're not happy with him directing Star Wars?
I think with where Star Wars is now, it makes sense.
Force Awakens, I mean, I didn't know any better before Force Awakens came out. I mean, I thought, okay, I mean, I was kind of impressed, I guess, with if not the execution, at least the idea of how they rebooted Star Trek.
Wait, what?
So Star Trek. So hold on. J.J. Abrams directed and wrote, or at least helped write the Star Trek reboot.
Yeah, but Are
Yeah.
you talking about both? Or because you said
hold
The
on.
Force Awakens and then
Hold on. So before The Force Awakens and what I saw him do with revitalizing Star Trek, even though the execution was iffy, at least the first movie before the sequels came out and kind of shot down the reboot franchise as having any quality, the possibilities opened up with the way that he did the reboot for Star Trek gave me an inkling that maybe he can bring something fresh to Star Wars. I wasn't thinking that he would bring something completely old to Star Wars, which is exactly what he did, is just doing a remake of New Hope with different names. And I mean, and oh God, I could go on for a long time about all the plot problems with Force Awakens. But anyway, I don't have any confidence. First off, I don't have any confidence in J.J. Abrams to deliver a good product as far as the next movie's concerned. But overall, mostly, I don't have confidence in Lucasfilm/Disney because their execution of Rogue One, their mishandling of Han Solo, the end product of Force Awakens, and what we've already seen coming down the pike with the next sequel to Star Wars, I don't have any confidence in their ability to make a movie, let alone a good movie at this stage of the game. Anyway,
maybe we should give Star Wars to Marvel and see what they can do.
Yeah, well, technically, Star Wars and Marvel are under the same roof at this stage.
Right. Well, that's why I'm saying, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump all way over, right?
Well, if you look at the Darth Vader comic book series that Marvel Comics is putting out right now, damn, I wish that was made into a movie. That Darth Vader series is fucking rad. But no, anyway. Deep topic time. Do we want to try some of Jack Cochran's Root articles? Do we want to go take the rock test?
Let's go take the rock test. I'm curious about that.
Okay, so anyway, continuing on from where I left off with the Medium article, it's as clear cut as this: treat all women like you would treat Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I know this sounds weird, but trust me. This is a visualization exercise that will work wonders in your dealings with the women in your workplace. Okay? When a woman approaches you, just replace her in your mind with The Rock. Then behave accordingly. Still confused? Oh yeah, I am. Let's try some dry runs. Okay, situation number 1. Getting coffee. Karen is a friend of a friend who recently moved to your city and wants to network in her chosen field. I feel like I should be saying something like a train leaves Chicago at 5 a.m. and a train leaves New York at 6 a.m. Each are traveling, whatever.
Right. Sorry.
Okay. She moved to your city and wants to network in her chosen field, one in which you also work. She's asked you if you'd be willing to get coffee with her so she can pick your brain. There's just one problem. Karen looks like this. And they give you a photo of a reasonably attractive woman. I mean, from my perspective, she just looks like a lady I'd see at work, whatever. Oh, shoot, she's pretty. In the face, even. Oh, fuck you. What to do? I mean, it'd be inappropriate to treat the coffee meeting as a date since her clearly stated intentions were professional. But on the other hand, she's blonde, and so was your last girlfriend. This is so confusing. What a minefield you're in. This is, I can't even. Okay, moving on.
Okay, here's the thing. As a female, if the guy isn't with somebody else or something like that, I personally wouldn't be like, hey, can we go do this thing alone?
Well, if you're going to a coffee shop, you're not technically alone, but whatever. Anyway, so...
No, well, I know, but I wouldn't, most women wouldn't do that. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that you should take that as it's a date, but...
Right.
It's...
Anyway, so...
She probably isn't opposed to sucking your dick, is all I'm saying.
Moving on, but navigating this sticky situation can be made easy by employing the rock test. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and when you open them, pretend Karen looks like this. And it shows a picture of the rock walking away from some destruction, I'm assuming from a G.I. Joe movie or something. Wow, Karen looks pretty tough and strong and sweaty. She looks like a person who is working very hard to achieve her goals, having left behind a situation that clearly wasn't working. So what you're telling me is when I look at a woman, I have to imagine that she's not a woman in order to imagine her as a strong and powerful individual. Medium. I can't look at a woman without thinking, gosh, I better think of her as a man because that's the only way I'll respect her. Do you understand what message you are sending, medium? Do you understand how this is contradictory to the whole feminist ideal? And that's Scribe talking, just so you know. That's not the article talking. It's just contradictory. Anyway, okay. Maybe ask her about that, but definitely don't hit on her. It looks like she could kill you with the chair you're sitting on.
Thanks, Sanguine. So I would ask them what acting with Walken in The Rundown was like.
Yeah, exactly.
And ask them what doing, I don't know what any of this means, VO for a Disney movie is
voiceover. Voiceover for yeah. So yeah, doing voiceover for Moana or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So if I was sitting down for coffee with Karen and I imagined she was The Rock, I'd say something like, "Gosh, what was it like being the Iron Giant?" Oh wait, that wasn't The Rock. That was Vin Diesel. But he's a sweaty bald man. That works too.
SDA, what would you do if a man did the unthinkable and treated you like a person? I would cry, obviously. No, this like you said, that's kind of a weird situation, I guess. And
what if I'm gay? If I imagine like a big sweaty rock, I'm gonna get like all hard looking at this woman, and then she get the wrong idea.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
Situation number 2. Again, these sound like math problems. Amanda is your business colleague who has a few questions about the big project your department just took on. She's asked you for a one-on-one meeting to go over some specifics. There's just one problem. She's a vaguely Asian lady with Beats headphones on. And
well, if she's Asian, then for one thing, she doesn't need help with anything, and the only reason why she wants to talk to you is to suck your dick. All right, moving on.
I said vaguely. I don't know. I can't. I'm colorblind. I can't tell race by looking. Anyway, oh geez, Amanda looks not only fit and attractive and young, but also like she isn't wearing a wedding ring. Ugh.
Just looks like it? Like you can't tell? Sorry.
No, I can tell. What if she's open to talking about her presumably adventurous sex life and yours? Finally, someone to share your secret latex fetish with. I'm reading it as it's written. How on earth can you hope to keep this meeting that has nothing to do at all with any of that focused for a whole 45 minutes? Again, close your eyes, clear your mind, and think of Amanda like this.
All right, real quick. Thank you, Timothy Steelbeck. If Karen came into a meeting to pick my brain looking like that, I would question her motives. I mean...
Okay, so how are we supposed to deal with this?
So every time that a woman at work talks to you, you have to close your eyes in front of them, open them again, and imagine that they are Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in various states of undress.
So when she asks you, why are you closing your eyes? Tell her, I'm picturing The Rock so I don't think about fucking you.
Yeah. you say, you're just so, actually, that might be a good rap line. You're just so beautiful. I have to imagine someone I'm completely not attracted to you to not make this weird.
I say show her your dick.
Yeah, just pull out your cock and get it over with at that point.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm going to skip. Okay, last one. There's only 3 situations, apparently. Oh, boy. Is this going to be group sex? Oh, boy. Situation number 3, the outing. Your coworker, Jennifer, and her team just launched a successful new project, and they've all invited you out for some drinks after work to celebrate. There's just one problem. Yep, you guessed it. There's 3 women here, and they're all relatively young and attractive. Jennifer and her team are all card-carrying Sephora shoppers. One of them is even wearing a skirt. Meow, right? Chink, right? How can you be expected to keep your hands to yourself when there's just so many young women smiling at you? Everyone knows when a woman smiles at you, it means she likes you like that. That's what I thought on the way home today on the sidewalk, so that's what I had a problem with. At least that's how all the movies you've seen and strip clubs you've been into have worked. How can you know if this is just drinks with coworkers or an opportunity to masturbate in front of a group like you've always dreamed?
What the fuck?
Quickly replace this image in your mind with this. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson standing in a group of 3 police officers, I guess.
Okay, guys, let me talk to you for a minute here, because if this applies to any of you, we need to talk. If your dream is to have 3 women and beat off in front of them, you need to set your goals higher.
Yeah, I set them higher, at least to their mouths.
Yeah, I mean, get it to her face, rub it on her cheek, something.
Like, be a little bit more ambitious than like.
But can we talk about something they said there at the beginning?
Sure.
It's a problem that you're out with 3 women.
Yeah, what a problem.
What the fuck? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. The only problem is, do you have enough roofies on you?
Yeah, no shit.
Oh, okay. Wow. Jennifer and her team look really perfect. Now, this is after you started imagining The Rock in a 3-piece suit and 3 police officers surrounding him. Jennifer and her team look really professional and ready to take on anything. It's no wonder their project succeeded and they're looking to celebrate. Maybe you could trade war stories with them about your project's past, or hear some of their stories about what it took to make it this far. One thing's for sure, though, no matter how drunk you get, do not masturbate in front of them. Seriously, the last kid I know who touched a cop unexpectedly ended up with his face in the cement. It was a bad night.
Yeah, I'm with him. Don't jerk off in front of them. What you're going to do is you're going to talk to them like they're people. And if you have a rapport with one of them, maybe you end up having sex. Maybe.
No. Force them. Force them.
Don't be creepy. Just
force
talk to them, for fuck's sake.
Force them. Aim high. Aim high. You go for a foursome, you might get at least a threesome.
And there's some really bad. She's talking about you're going out for drinks with colleagues. Don't discuss work when you're out and about. Just don't do it.
No, I mean,
it's not a good idea.
Yeah, if somebody takes you to coffee and says, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you about blah blah blah," maybe you could be a mentor or something. Yeah, I mean, keep it professional, because first and foremost, here's the one rule that all of these stories apply to regardless: do not shit where you eat.
Yeah.
You do not date coworkers first and foremost, no matter how hot they are. It is a bad move. You want to talk about sexual harassment and HR problems for Harvey Weinstein? Yeah, you're asking for it if you do that shit. So, yeah, so stay away from that in the first place.
I think you can still fuck them. I mean, have fun with that. Me and Scribe disagree on the whole dating coworkers thing, but
I've seen firsthand, not personally, but I've seen coworkers who have totally got themselves screwed over by getting involved in that.
So have I. I've seen it. I've also seen it work out for people. That's why I take a more charitable. I think you need to be careful. I think you need to be very careful.
Yeah, it's a coin flip, but you know, you're on the side of not, unless you have every green light you can possibly think of, and then also it in writing ahead of time.
Yeah, and these 3 women inviting you out, there's also a chance they think you're gay.
Yeah, no, if it's 3 women and you're gay, by the way. Thank you, Sanguine. It is okay to fuck up, just don't fuck down.
What about with a midget?
Well, I mean, you'd be
how many of your coworkers have you fucked? Well, I've fucked my coworkers twice, 3 times.
Once, twice, 3 times a coworker.
In each instance, it was my wife. So, just saying.
No, that's not exciting.
But you think I'm admitting to infidelity on the air?
No. I mean, you could have been talking about something that happened before you were married. I don't know.
I got married at 17. Well, 18.
Oh, that's right. You were a youngin'.
Mm-hmm. Nope. But I've worked with my wife 3 times, and I fucked her all 3 times. So that's. Oh, sorry, kids. This is your disclaimer.
Oh my God! Grandparents having sex. Bleh!
I agree, Scribe. I agree.
Keith Nunez wants to know if I like midgets. Anybody want to answer that for me?
He absolutely loves midgets.
What are you talking about? Monkey hates midgets. He would hate fuck them all over the place.
He loves his
like
midgets.
Well, let's see. It's the bottom
God.
of the hour, last half hour of the show, so technically it's chat time.
I have a question held over from last night from Backscan. Do you mind if I answer that real quick?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
He wanted to know if I think, since abortion is legal, that men should be able to get out of their financial responsibility for any child they create. And I think absolutely the only way. Go ahead.
No, it was just all right. Well, this is.
No, it's something I've talked about many times. Anytime abortion comes up, if abortion is going to be legal, the only way to make it fair to men would be to give them a way to opt out of child support.
Yeah.
Because right now what we do is we tell, and one of the things they say is, you know, that we need abortion for the health of the mother. Well, when you force a man to pay for a child that he doesn't want for 18 years, there's a very good chance that he's going to fuck up his body at some point. I use myself as an example. This is work did this to me. If you're going to give women an out, if you're going to say you can abdicate your responsibility for your actions, then the only fair thing to do is to give men one too.
Yeah,
I think any man worth his weight would still take care of a child that he creates. But if you give women an out, you got to give men an out. Sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, sorry.
Well, women, yeah. So women can opt for an abortion. Women can opt to give up for adoption, and there's no penalty. Parental surrender on the women's side of things is absolute. They can, and without any negative consequences, short of the cost of the abortion or, stigma maybe for giving up a child. But that's their choice. A man has no such options. They have no legal recourse for parental surrender, short of there being some kind of legal process of verification of, surrendering the parental rights to the mother. But even then, we've seen instances where it's like the guy had an agreement with the mother that he wasn't going to have to take charge, but then she sues him 10 years, 20 years later or something for back child support or something. And then she gets it because he has no out. So yeah, there should be a legal avenue for men to give up parental rights.
It's gotten even worse than that. There was a case where a woman there have been several cases where women have jacked a guy's sperm.
Yes.
And gotten themselves pregnant, and he is still legally responsible for that child.
Right.
I will say,
and even even worse than that, like if you look here in Michigan, there's been a famous case going on for quite a while. I think Weibo might have even made a video about this. This guy is on the hook for child support for a child the court knows isn't his.
Right.
But the mother put his name down when she went to fill out paperwork for welfare.
Yeah.
You have to name a father so they can go after him. And even though it's been proven, DNA tests have proven it, the mother said, yeah, he ain't really he's not really the father. He's still on the hook for it. And it's like he owes like $30,000 and he's been fighting this in court for years. Weibo said she did. Everything is sexist, daddy by default. So check that video out if you guys want to see a really fucked up court case. I'm sorry, SDA. I've cut you off twice now. What were you saying?
No, it's okay. This is sort of like, because this is kind of fucked up on all sides when you have cases like this where you have parents wanting to get out of parenting. I would say that maybe as a devil's advocate, sort of, in the case of abortion, if a woman gets an abortion, there is no child to support. And this doesn't hold up in like when you surrender it like to, a fire station, police station, whatever, or give it up for adoption at all. But like in the case of abortion, when the woman gets out in that way, there is no kid. Whereas
Yeah.
for the most part, regardless of how a man gets out, they're still a kid. And I think that's why people are harsher on men with it, if that makes sense.
I see what you're saying, but I disagree slightly, because if you look at how society talks about it, we're supposed to respect a woman's choice.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm not like defending it one way or another. I'm just kind
No,
of talking out loud.
I get it.
Okay.
But when a man's like, I didn't want this child, what do they say? Well, you should have kept it in your pants. You cannot
Right.
say
Or you're
that
a
to a woman.
deadbeat. Yeah, you're a deadbeat no matter what, even if.
You should have kept your fucking legs closed. How dare you?
Yeah, no, for sure.
The problem is, and I see what you're saying, because yes, there is a child at that point, but the issue isn't the child, unfortunately. The issue is men get no say in whether or not they become fathers, other than to keep it in their pants, where women have all kinds of options, abortion, adoption, that men have no say in, none at all. And there's just no way for a man. And as I said in that one case, I mean, there's cases where women have jacked a guy's sperm. He didn't even do anything.
Right. Yeah.
To make the baby.
Or they're like what Weibo made a video about, where it's not even his kid. And I do think, I just want to be clear, I do think that men and women should have equal rights when it comes to whether or not they are going to be parents. I wish that, we didn't even have to talk about this or have to make these decisions, but unfortunately we do.
Frankly, I think we live in a time where abortion shouldn't be needed. We know how to stop pregnancy in 99% of the cases. But since it's a reality, since it's something we're doing, if women get an out, men should have one.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So I didn't mean to get into another deep topic there, but he asked that right at the end of the stream last night, and it's a good question, and I wanted to answer it. So there you go, Backscan. There's my answer on that. What else do we have, guys? I'm sorry it took so long on that one. Did I miss anything that was going on while we were discussing that? What about when the father wants the kid and the mom doesn't? Now that is a very you can't force a woman to have a baby. Sorry. I'm against abortion, but as long as that is legal, you cannot force a woman to have an abortion.
You can't force a woman to go through a pregnancy.
Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do in that case. There's just not. There's no way to make that.
Now, if we're talking about adoption, like the kid is already out of the womb.
That's different, yes.
I think that's different. But when you're talking about abortion, because there have been propositions of like, oh, you should have to inform and get his consent before you can have an abortion. I'm just like, I get it if you want the baby, but at the same time, you can't just make somebody pregnant, you can't force somebody to be pregnant.
I agree with you, and I should have clarified that. If it's an adoption case and the dad wants it, dad gets it in my case.
I agree with that for sure. Yeah.
But if she's just pregnant and wants an abortion, it's horrible to be in that situation, I'd imagine. But I'm not cool with forcing women to have a child.
Yeah, forcing, because that, depending on your situation, depending on your medical history, even if you're perfectly healthy and there's nothing wrong with you, pregnancy does stuff to your body that is irreversible. And, if that option is available to them, you can't just force people to.
Keith Nunes says, I feel like the father should have a say in an abortion case. In theory, I agree with you. But again, if abortion is legal and it's something women can do, you cannot. I just don't think you can compel them to have a child.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's okay either.
Oh, Skep Tock, you jack. What about postnatal abortions for people like the Las Vegas shooter?
For sure.
If you want
postnatal abortion himself, unfortunately, not before he killed 50 other people, 50 plus other people.
I'd have no problem for it if you can catch him before he shoots everyone. Guys, do we have other questions? I mean, I'm happy to keep talking about this, but if there's anything else you want to talk about,
this is just such a happy topic. Why wouldn't we want to keep talking?
It is. I got to say, we've had a lot to talk about this show.
Scribe, a lot has happened. We've had some very deep conversations about, people doing the whole sexual assault thing and go to the police versus not. And now we're talking about abortion. It's a super uppity stream today.
What if the woman who sperm jacks a man and conceives a child? She's on her fucking own. And that's not fair to do to the kid, which is the hard part there.
Yeah, the kid didn't ask to have a deranged piece of shit for a mother.
Yeah, I hate how men are treated in our society when it comes to reproduction. We hear nothing but women's reproduction, women's reproductive freedom. Nobody's forcing women to have babies. They're just not. There's every way for a woman not to have a baby, from birth control to abstinence to abortion. Nobody is forcing women to have children that they don't want. Men are the ones who get forced to do that.
Yeah, there's plenty. I mean, there's plenty of coat hangers out there, ladies.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Good God.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a guy pushing a woman down the stairs. Like, what else are you going to do?
I mean, seriously, just look. Okay, you want to imagine a woman as the Rock in order to sort of waylay your hormonal instincts. Okay, see a pregnant woman belly as a soccer ball. Okay, you're done.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Jesus Christ. I think,
okay,
but I think
cut him off if he got too bad.
I think ideally we wouldn't even have to talk about this, because the issue here is that in this case you would have two people who are not ready to have a kid, who are now being faced with the fact that they have a kid, and and it's just like, fuck, don't get pregnant in the first place.
Well, I have a problem with this on so many levels. One, the ability to completely abdicate responsibility for your actions doesn't help people grow. And far too often, there are stories out there, and you can find these. There are women who treat abortion like birth control. There is no reason at this point in our society that this should even be a fucking question. The abortion, if we have it, should be so limited that it's almost meaningless to discuss, because we know how to stop pregnancy, for fuck's sake. And I cannot tell you how many times I've heard somebody go, yeah, we got pregnant. We were using birth control, but it just didn't work. And I know they're fucking lying, because I said the same thing myself. It's a fucking lie. We were using condoms. No, you weren't. You're a fucking liar. Because any kid that's caught, like we were 17, we were still in high school, and we both told our parents, yeah, we used condoms, they just didn't work. And we were lying our ass off, because condoms work most of the time. And by most of the time, that's like, what is it, like 98% effective?
Yeah,
Something
I mean,
like that, yeah.
Is there going to be an outlying case where, because there's also, if you're a female and you're on the pill, there are things you need to be aware of. Like if you're on multiple medications, you need to ask your doctor, because sometimes they won't tell you, depending on how old you are, what they are assuming about your sex life, whether or not those medications make your birth control pills less effective. So, for example, if you get sick and you have to be on an extended antibiotic, antibiotics make birth control pills less effective. These are things you need to know. And so anytime you get put on a medication, you should absolutely be asking your doctor, is this going to make birth control less effective? You might want to know.
I have had a condom break, and you know what we did? We stopped, we put on a new one, and we were fine. Most get them with the spermicide in them, and you're going to be, for the most part, okay. But if you listen to all of the young kids who were using birth control would actually be pretty much meaningless, because it wouldn't work at all. Birth control works, and I'm also tired of hearing, well, they're not teaching in schools. This isn't the 1920s. Kids have the internet, and I don't know if any child, say under the age of, say, 15, who doesn't know what a fucking condom is, or over the age of 15 who doesn't know what a condom is. So pretending that's the problem is an issue. Bloodwing, Ranting Monkey, my youngest daughter was conceived after my wife had her tubes tied. I've had a vasectomy and found out quite by accident that vasectomies only work for about 10 years guaranteed. That's a weird thing to learn. Luckily it turned out that it wasn't. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Make Europe strong again. Do you think this will spread to the music industry?
Oh, talking about Weinstein?
Well, I don't know because I'm like, thanks for playing the pronoun game. Can you clarify?
Yeah. Help me out here. Are you talking about Weinstein? Because if so, yeah, we can talk about that in a minute.
Talked about all the things tonight, and I'm a little confused.
No, the abortion spreading to the music industry. Sure. Why not? Oh, wait. What?
It's spread to Congress. Remember our story, Congressman? Anyway, my brother was a condom baby. It didn't break, but some sperm got through it.
I had a many years ago, a girlfriend of mine. We had sex, and I made the mistake of using a condom she had at her place that wasn't one that I had bought for myself, and it was just too wide for me, and it slipped off in the course of sex. We didn't realize this till after we were done, because suddenly the condom wasn't where it should have been. And so there was the notion that it had sort of, emptied inside of her as we tried to pull it out of her because it was inside of her somewhere. And so thankfully, she and I were completely on the same page. I was very lucky. The next morning, we went down to Planned Parenthood. We got the morning after pill. There was a couple of weeks of tension because it threw off her cycle, and so she didn't have her period when she usually did, which made us all very scared. But inevitably, it all evened out in the end, and there you go. I mean, you just have to be a responsible individual about it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you're with a partner that you have enough knowledge and experience with that you're on the same page when it comes to kids and what happens in those situations. So I got very lucky. It was a very scary time, but during that course of time where I was worried about what if she is pregnant, what if the pill didn't work, whatever, I had that notion of like, well, I don't have a say if she decides in a way that I would disagree with, which that was my first experience with really being like, holy shit, I could be trapped in a situation that I never wanted to be in for 18, 20 years. And so when the arguments come out like, oh, a man shouldn't have to have that same have a pitfall a woman doesn't, I haven't thankfully had to be in a situation where I've had to face that, but at least in a virtual sense, I was right there looking at the prospect if things didn't work out the way they did. So.
I think some of this also comes down to a bit of personal responsibility. And people got mad at me one time when I said this, but I will say it again because I stand by it. If you're super worried about something happening after you have sex with somebody once, whether it be like, them getting pregnant, something like that. I mean, maybe wait like 5 seconds before you start screwing somebody. Make sure you're at least a little bit on the same page about all that kind of stuff. I mean, just saying, it's just a thought, which I know is absolutely insane. Why would you wait to have sex with anybody? It's just, just seems like the
Make
thing
Your
to do.
Strong again did clarify that he was talking about the whole sexual harassment thing.
Maybe.
I don't know. It could. I don't know how bad it is in the music industry. I don't pay as much attention.
I do know that because I was like big into. I was big into screamo bands as a teenager, and I remember there were several instances of some shade. I forget what bands specifically it was. I think maybe Black Veil Brides. I don't know. People that I didn't really listen to that much. There was some shady stuff going on with sexual harassment there. I mean, with people in power, there's...
I don't know that the music industry has the same power structure that Hollywood does. I'm not saying that there's not an issue there.
Well, we saw that one with like, what was it, Keisha and some music producer guy. I think in general, Hollywood for sure, the barrier is down. Like I said, Harvey Weinstein represents sort of a keystone of power, and if it's sort of like finding the one spot on Smaug where his scales aren't there in the weak spot. Once you know where that is, everything becomes possible. So I don't think anybody who has wronged anybody in Hollywood right now is necessarily safe, because between all of the female actresses and high-profile people that have pretty much denounced Harvey Weinstein, that just puts all those people on the same list of supporters for anybody that finally gets the gumption to say something. And that, like I say, it's a double-edged sword. This may allow some people who are scared to speak up before because of fear of their careers or their reputations to finally tell the truth about something. On the flip side, it also opened up the possibility for just attention seekers and people looking for a payday. So, yeah.
I will say that as far as the music industry goes, if there's something that, you know, it gets, if something happens, it will probably be between like fans and the artists themselves rather than some sort of crazy, some sort of crazy power structure type thing like we're seeing with Hollywood, just because the power structures aren't the same in the music industry. So maybe, I don't know. It seems like when some of these allegations come out, like I said, as truthful as you can see as some of them are in the Weinstein and then in the Andy Signor cases, because we can pick out individual cases and go, okay, that, you know, that all that stuff lines up. There was an immediate report, blah, 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 right? On top of all those truthful ones, you have all the bullshit. And then it seems like when one of these cases comes out, all these cases come out and everybody's being sexually harassed by everybody. So who knows?
Mickey Armstrong, I hope we answered your question there. Weibo had a question I want to address real fast. If you guys want to address it too, that's fine. But I want to get to one story that we missed if we can.
Okay.
Weibo asked our thoughts on child support and child custody. I think that's way too big of a topic for me to get into, and is too case dependent.
For sure.
I think there's a tendency for men to just lose out on their children just because they are men. But past saying that, it depends on the case.
Yeah, we'd have to talk about specific cases because, you know, a lot of that's going to come down to the individual parents, their individual situation, what's actually best for the kid on a case-by-case basis. That's something that's difficult to broadly talk about. We can maybe try to tackle it in deep topic time tomorrow, but yeah, but we have 9 minutes and Monkey wants to talk about a story, so that's where I'm going to land on that.
Scribbles, anything you want to add before I get to the story there?
Rutabaga.
All right, cool. So what did you want to talk about, Spunky?
Did you guys hear about the case of the missing Texas 3-year-old girl?
Yes.
Yes, Mash said something before. I'm sorry, Mash. I totally blanked.
Yeah, I meant to talk about this during news time. For those of you who don't know, this case pisses me off so bad, and I hate to end this way, but it's worth discussing. There's a jackass in Texas who sent his 3-year-old special needs daughter, who has trouble communicating. She's actually special needs. At 3 o'clock in the morning, she wouldn't drink her milk, so he sent her outside across an alleyway to stand behind a pole for 15 fucking minutes. And now the girl's missing.
Oh, really? No shit.
This
pisses me off.
Yeah, he went out to check on her and she wasn't there. So he went back inside and did some laundry and figured she'd find her way home. I hope this jackass gets, I hate to say this, but I hope he spends the rest of his fucking life in jail.
Wood chipper, toes first.
That would be great too.
Yeah, feet first through a fucking wood chipper.
This little girl's been missing since Saturday.
When was it reported missing though? Like,
oh shit! Oh shit! Harvey Weinstein's wife just dumped him.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Shit. Anyway, sorry.
He didn't report her for 5 hours that she was missing.
Right.
Yeah. So, Mash, sorry I didn't get to that earlier, but I did want to bring up that story because, man, fuck that guy. Fuck him right in the ass.
All right. At this point, I got to wonder, okay, what's the clock on Harvey Weinstein killing himself?
Yeah.
All right. You're a little loose-lipped tonight. That's a little clear.
I'm actually pretty sober at this point. This isn't the booze talking.
No, I know, but you're just...
Can we talk for a minute about his wife? Did you see her?
No.
She's hot.
She is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, she is.
And he looks like a potato that's been under the sink for about 6 months.
Yeah.
When I just saw that, I just immediately thought, yeah, they probably have a lot in common.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I forget what comedian made the joke. It was like, they have a lot in common. He has a lot of money and she likes a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I'm not surprised that she's left him. I'm surprised he landed her, except for all that money.
It's definitely the money.
You think? Really?
No,
Well,
you know what?
yeah,
I actually
It's true
think
love.
yeah. I mean, I understand that I'm being morbid here, but all things considered, if within 1 week, not only do you lose, you get fired from your own company, your name gets taken off of the things you've created and or produced and or built over the course of decades, and your wife leaves you, and you're accused of rape, and everybody's calling you a monster. I don't see how this doesn't put him on the edge of doing something self-destructive. Maybe not necessarily suicidal, but holy shit. I mean, not that he doesn't necessarily deserve it, depending on what he's done or what he hasn't done, but Jesus. That's a lot to
well,
take.
we have 5 minutes left, so this has just been, I hope you weren't having a bad day, because if you listen to this stream, you probably are now, because we decided to cover every single heavy topic on the planet.
This is the deep topic stream. You need to rename it.
Welcome to the deep topic stream. Jesus Christ. Did we talk about?
Oh, I do want to talk about something real quick. We mentioned at the top of the hour, those of you who missed it, we are changing the format a little bit.
Schedule.
The scheduling, yes. From now on, we're going to be taking Sundays off, but starting on Monday, every Monday and Thursday, the show will be on SDA's channel. Every Tuesday and Friday on Scribe, and every Wednesday and Saturday on my channel.
Yeah.
Which I mentioned last night, that probably means I'll be streaming about something else on Sundays. And this coming Sunday on my channel at 8 o'clock, I will be talking to Dater Lucum.
Are we going to do a Tombstone?
Yes, we're doing Tombstone, you and me at what, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 Eastern on my channel. Hypnagogic, not monk. I don't know how to say that. Hypnagogic. Somebody say that for me.
Hypnagogic.
Whatever says gay. It's a change that gives us a day off and helps it to make it easier to find us each night, guys. We forgot to mention that at the end of the stream last night, so I want to make sure people who come in late get to hear it too.
Yeah, and so this week's going to be normal. So tomorrow night,
Scribe.
We're going to be on Scribe's channel, and then we're just going to skip Sunday, and then it's just going to jump straight to me on Monday, which is how it would have been anyway. And then Sanguine brought up a good question. Wait, so is SDA getting all the guest streams now? Not necessarily. No, that's not what we're going to do. The next 2 guest nights will be totally normal because it's up on Monkeys this week, and then next week is when the new schedule starts, which lands on me on Thursday anyway.
We're just going to switch off week to week is all. We're
just going to switch off week to week. It's going to be more random guest nights. So the next 2 guest nights will be normal, as you guys know it, and then it'll start changing up a little bit, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal.
Yeah, I've already got my guest scheduled for 2 weeks from now or whatever.
Oh, and for anybody wondering, our guest this week will be the One Ton Hammer, who joined us one time a long time ago when SDA was off for you were having, I think, computer problems that night.
I don't remember.
No, but I told him back then that I'd get him back on one time. He's actually really fun to talk to, and while he is MGTOW, he likes us, so I won't be mean to him. I want to get a bad MGTOW on. I think that would be fun. I want to see how long I could keep them on before they left. Okay, guys, you got 2 minutes. 2 minutes to ask us anything. Ask us your next deep topic.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I browse logical fallacies for inspiration. I don't know what that's in regard to, but I approve.
Tomorrow, Saturday, question mark? No, tomorrow is not Saturday.
Oh,
I have to be up early tomorrow. Ugh. Sorry.
Monkey, should child support be adjusted to fit the custody arrangement? Absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure. Faux shizzle.
Backscan wants to know if I'd be okay with regulating abortion to a set number over a set number of years, and if they go past that, tying their tubes. I'm never in favor of forcibly giving somebody surgery unless it's a child molester. And in that case, I don't want surgery. I want them to be awake for it.
Well, no, forced sterilization in my, because I've heard that, like, oh, if you have to get this many abortions, then you should have your tubes tied. I'm sorry. You cannot just take away somebody's autonomy like that. I get why you're pissed. You bar them from having an abortion if you want to go down that road, fine. But I don't think that forced sterilization is okay under any circumstances. Unless you're a child molester, in which case, fuck you.
BG wants to know if Lady Monkey grabbed my crotch when she's fallen out of bed. No.
All right, and on that, that's all the time we have tonight, guys. So tomorrow night, we will be on Scribe's channel, and then we will be reminding you guys of the new schedule as the week goes, as we lead up to it. And don't worry, it won't be too confusing. So, chat, thank you guys for coming. Scribe, Spunky, as always. Guys, your life makes us deep, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night.